Welcome back to LA Show. I wanted to come back in and give you guys more updates on what has been happening surrounding the case of Ahmaud Arbery. I know this case has touched millions of people in different ways, but I really want to see a change come from all of us for Ahmaud. But we're going to have to take our time with this, and we're going to have to keep our ears to the streets because there is a lot of trickery that is being done down there in Georgia. Let's see what's going on. I have an article here from insider.com. The shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery, a timeline of a case that's gripping the nation. This was posted on May 12th of 2020. Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old black man, set out for a jog in Brunswick, Georgia, one afternoon in late February. He never made it home. Gregory McMichael, age 64, and his son Travis McMichael, age 34, both of whom are white, say they mistook Arbery for a burglary suspect, so they grabbed two guns, hopped into their pickup truck, and pursued him. Arbery was shot during an altercation with the pair and died of his wounds. He was buried 6 days later, but the men who killed him roamed free for more than 2 months. February 23rd, Ahmaud Arbery is gunned down in broad daylight. Gregory McMichael told the responding officer, J. Arbery, that he first noticed Arbery because he resembled a man accused of a string of residential break-ins in the area, according to a Glenn County police report. But the Brunswick News found that only one burglary had been reported in the area from the start of 2020 to the day Arbery died. The sole item stolen was a gun from Travis McMichael's unlocked pickup truck. That didn't stop the men from grabbing their guns, a .357 Magnum and a shotgun, and following Arbery just after 1 p.m. after they intercepted him. Arbery got into a scuffle with Travis McMichael. The two men then started fighting over the shotgun, at which point Travis fired a shot, and then a second later there was a second shot, the report said. The altercation was filmed by a witness later identified as William Bryan. 3 shots were heard in the footage, with the last one fired point blank before Arbery stumbled and fell face down. Gregory McMichael was a former investigator and police officer with the Glenn County District Attorney's Office, told police he rolled the body over to check for a weapon. Arbery was unarmed, but Arbery made a note of the blood on the senior McMichael's hands. February 23rd through the 25th. Jackie Johnson, the district attorney from the Brunswick Judicial Circuit, recuses herself from the Arbery case. Jackie Johnson told the Brunswick News that she emailed State Attorney General Chris Carr on February 25th, recusing herself from the Arbery case due to a conflict of interest. Gregory McMichael worked as an investigator for her office until his retirement in May of 2019, a spokesman for the office said. Johnson asked Carr to transfer the case to another prosecutor, George Barnhill, the district attorney for the neighboring Waycross Judicial Circuit, was brought on February 27th, according to Brunswick News. Information I had was there was a shooting involving Greg McMichael and his son. Johnson told the local outlet there seemed to be a self-defense issue and they didn't know whether they could make an arrest. However, a timeline by Glenn County's Public Information Officer Matthew Kent relays events differently and says Johnson's office learned of the investigation around 3:30 p.m. on February 23rd. The DA's office advised that there needed to be a further follow-up and the detectives would be contacted the following day by the DA from the Waycross Judicial Circuit. The McMichaels were deemed not to be flight risks, and officers were advised by the DA's office that no arrests were necessary at the time, Kent wrote, adding that Glenn County police detectives were in touch with George Barnhill, the district attorney for the neighboring Waycross Judicial Circuit, from February 24th. Controversy has prompted calls for Johnson's removal from office. April 2nd, Barnhill, the second DA to step aside, tells police there are no grounds for an arrest. In a letter obtained by the New York Times, Barnhill told Glenn County Police Captain Tom Jump that Arbery's mother did not want him in charge of the case since his son worked for Johnson. She sees a conflict in that my son works in the Brunswick District Attorney's office where Greg McMichael retired some time ago, he wrote. She believes there are kinships between the parties. There are not, and has made other unfounded allegations of bias. As such, I believe it is better for my office to step out, and am going to recuse myself and the assistants working for me from handling the case. After reviewing autopsy reports on April 1st, Barnhill told Jump that there were no grounds for an arrest. The McMichaels were following in hot pursuit a burglary suspect with solid first-hand probable cause in their neighborhood and telling him to stop, he wrote. It appears their intent was to stop and hold this criminal suspect until law enforcement arrived. Under Georgia law, this is perfectly legal. Barnhill's letter also said that Georgia's open carry law allowed them to be armed since neither is a convicted felon. They were also in a car registered to Travis McMichael. He detailed the altercation between Arbery and Travis McMichael, saying given the fact Arbery initiated the fight at the point Arbery grabbed the shotgun, under Georgia law, McMichael was allowed to use deadly force to protect himself. According to Barnhill, there is also a question about who fired the fatal shot. While we know McMichael had his finger on the trigger, we don't know who caused the firings, he wrote. Barnhill's letter named a witness, William Bryan, as the person who filmed the video of Arbery's killing, and also refers to a conversation that he had with Glenn County Police on February 24th. April 13th, Arbery's case lands on the desk of Tom Durden, a 3rd District Attorney. A statement issued by Durden on May 5th indicated that he was assigned Arbery's case on or about April 13th, according to the Coastal Carrier. He went on to write, having neither previous knowledge of the incident nor any relationship with any investigators or witnesses, I accepted the appointment to review the case and take the action that I thought was appropriate. May 5th, a defense attorney leaks a graphic video of Arbery's shooting death on social media. The New York Times reported on May 8th that a defense attorney who had consulted with the McMichaels but will not be representing them leaked the video to a local radio station. It was then posted on social media on May 5th where it went viral. It wasn't two men with a Confederate flag in the back of a truck going down the road and shooting a jogger in the back, Alan Tucker told the newspaper. It got the truth out there as to what you could see. My purpose was not to exonerate them nor convict them. When the video went public, Durden announced that he plans to present the Arbery case to a grand jury at the earliest available date once the coronavirus-related lockdown lifts, to let them decide if charges need to be brought against the McMichaels. The video spurred widespread outrage. The 6th of May, Arbery's parents and attorneys held a conference decrying their child's death and pushing officials to arrest the McMichaels. Wanda Cooper Jones recalled the police telling her that her son was shot dead by a homeowner during a home burglary. It was only after his funeral that she came across a news article reporting that he was killed in the street, not at home or a yard. First Coast News reported, so she began to look into the circumstances of his death. I don't think that I'll ever reach the mental capacity to ever watch the video, she said. You know, I saw my son come in the world, and seeing him leave the world, it's not something that I want to see ever. Benjamin Crump, one of the family's attorneys, told Insider on Wednesday that the video looked like a hunting party. We have every right to expect an arrest immediately based on the ocular proof presented in that video of his execution, Crump said. He added that if it were Arbery and his father who had pulled the trigger on a white jogger, they'd have been arrested on the spot. May 6th, support pours in for the Arbery family, with people demanding justice for Ahmaud's behalf. The supermodel Padma Lakshmi tweeted the Glenn County Police Department's phone numbers so people could demand that Gregory and Travis McMichael be taken into custody. She joined a recording that included the voices of presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, NBA superstar LeBron James, talk show host Ellen DeGeneres, and the star of Netflix Queer Eye, Jonathan Van Ness. A Change.org petition seeking justice for Ahmaud amassed hundreds of thousands of signatures. May 7th, agents from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation arrest the McMichaels. Around 7:45 p.m. Thursday, news broke that the GBI had taken Gregory and Travis McMichael into custody. Both men faced felony murder and aggravated assault charges and were booked in the Glenn County Jail. May 8th, on what would have been Arbery's 26th birthday, supporters run 2.23 miles in recognition of the day that he died. Support for Arbery and anger at his death sparked the hashtag #IRunWithMaud movement, with people running 2.23 miles to mark the day he was killed on his birthday. He was my baby boy that I actually had on Mother's Day of 1994, said his mother, Wanda Cooper Jones. He was the baby of the family. But that being said, Ahmaud was his sister and brother's keeper. Cooper Jones added, his spirit was good. He was the yes ma'am and no ma'am type of fellow. On May 8th, GBI Director Vic Reynolds says probable cause was clear to our agents pretty quickly. At a news conference on May 8th, the Bureau's Director Vic Reynolds said there was sufficient probable cause to charge the McMichaels with felony murder and aggravated assault. I can tell you that if we didn't believe, we wouldn't have arrested them, he said. If we believe it, then we're going to put the bracelets on them. And that's exactly what we did yesterday evening. He added that the GBI was brought in late on May 5th by Darden and within 36 hours felt confident in seeking arrest warrants for the McMichaels before nabbing them. Reynolds said that while the police in Glenn County had gotten the investigation to a good point, the GBI pursued additional leads, recanvassed the neighborhood, and interviewed more people, some for the first time. Asked whether other arrests were pending, Reynolds said the investigation was active and ongoing. Reynolds described the video of Arbery shooting as a very important piece of evidence. The Bureau is investigating everybody involved in the case, including the individual who shot the video, as well as how it was leaked, he said. Georgia doesn't have a hate crime statute, so the crime can't be prosecuted as such, even though Marcus Arbery Sr., the victim's father, characterized it. It was a hate crime, Marcus Arbery told First Coast News. My young son wasn't doing nothing, minding his own business, running and working out, and that's a crime? To work out and run, and he ain't breaking no law? No, time out. May 8th, 2 Glenn County commissioners accused D.A. Johnson of obstructing arrest, and she fires back. 2 Glenn County commissioners, Alan Booker and Peter Murphy, accused District Attorney Jackie Johnson on May 8th of preventing police from arresting the McMichaels. The police at the scene went to her saying they were ready to arrest both of them. These were the police at the scene who had done the investigation, Booker told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She shut them down to protect her friend, Gregory McMichael. Murphy added they were told not to make the arrest. But Johnson denied the baseless and false claims. She flatly denied having conversations with police about the Arbery case, instead alleging that this was an attempt to make excuses and ignored the problems at the Glenn County Police Department, for which they are ultimately responsible. May 10th through the 11th, Georgia's Attorney General taps the DOJ and GBI to probe the handling of Arbery's case. Georgia's Attorney General Chris Carr announced on Sunday that he had asked the Department of Justice to conduct a complete and transparent review of how the Ahmaud Arbery case was handled from the outset. Of particular interest are the ways Johnson, Barnhill, and the Glenn County Police Department responded to the fatal shooting. The DOJ is reportedly considering pursuing federal hate crime charges. The state of Georgia has no hate crime laws. In a news release on Monday, GBI shared that Carr has asked the agency to investigate possible prosecutorial misconduct by the offices of Johnson and Barnhill. On May 11th, a 4th district attorney is pulled into this closely watched case. Esley Merritt, one of the family's attorneys, said on Monday that a new prosecutor, Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes, has been assigned to Arbery's case at the family's request. On Twitter, Merritt alleged that Atlantic Judicial Circuit District Attorney Durden sat on the case until video of Ahmaud's murder was leaked. So Holmes represents a huge win in the family's pursuit for answers. She is currently being vetted for conflicts of interest, Merritt said. Later that same day, Carr told NBC News that the video of Arbery's shooting left him stunned and sickened. When you see things like that, the first thing I thought was, that's not my Georgia, he said. That's not who we are. It's important for us to find out what happened and make sure justice is done, Carr. May 11th, an autopsy reveals that 2 gunshot blasts to the chest killed Arbery. 2 shotgun wounds to the chest killed Arbery, according to an autopsy released Monday by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Forensic Division. He sustained fatal injuries to the upper and lower chest, as well as a bullet also grazed his right wrist as he struggled with Travis McMichael for the shotgun. This 25-year-old died of multiple gunshot wounds sustained during a struggle for the shotgun. The report dated April 1st reads, Arbery had no alcohol or drugs in his system at the time of death, the report says. Also, there are pictures that are now circulating of Gregory McMichael being affiliated with the KKK. These men deserve to be in jail for what they did. They did not have the right to run and chase down this young man for what they believed happened. Also, there is new video circulating of what Ahmaud Arbery was accused of doing in this construction site, which it seems to me he was only looking around. I also don't understand why it's taking so long for William Bryan, aka Roddy, to be arrested. He was having a good old time with his good old boyfriends, riding up behind them, recording them, murdering somebody. The whole running protest for Ahmaud Arbery, I really don't care too much for, because that's not putting a real emphasis on what took place to this young black man. As far as the protests with the guns, it looked good. However, I'm concerned for the community that's left in that area of Georgia, and what will they be able to do to protect themselves in case this does incite more violence, because everybody packed up and left. Let me know what you guys think about the update on Ahmaud Arbery's case. I will stay on this case and provide updates. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And once again, let's send love, light, and peace to this family. And also justice. Thank you for tuning in to LA Show. I'll be back with more.